What's going on, guys? Right, in this video we're going to talk about 3 things that are going to help you to switch off at night and get to sleep. This has been in my awareness a lot over the past few weeks, and I'm not going to go through the typical stuff of like reducing screen time and all that sort of stuff. We're going to go through 3 things that you probably haven't considered. Okay, I've heard people complain about this stuff, talk about this stuff, ask me questions about this stuff over the past week, so I thought I'd do a video on it. The first one is probably the most obvious one, which is consistently going to bed at the same time. Okay, don't worry too much about the time that you're getting up. Obviously set an alarm to get up just in case you don't wake up, but focus more on getting to bed at the same time. If you're waking up exhausted and tired in the morning, you're probably going to bed too late, dragging it on too late. So first, consistently going to bed at the same time is one of the best habits that you can implement around sleep. Okay, and same as all habits, it may not click straight away. Yeah, it may take a couple of nights. So you may have to say, if you're going to bed at 8 o'clock or whatever, a good idea is to rewind back time from whenever your wake up time is. Say if you have to wake up at 5 a.m, you rewind back 8 hours and then set that as your bedtime. And then if you find that you're consistently getting up at about 5 and you're still tired, then maybe you need to pull it back a little bit more or reduce stresses in your life. One or the two, or a combination of both, is going to help. Okay, but the first principle is consistently getting to bed at the same time. And this is something that over time, we go through seasons in life, just like everything's cyclical. You're going to go through periods of time in your life where things are more stressful. Maybe you're training more, maybe you've got more emotional stressors, relationship stuff, I don't know what it is, but all that sort of stuff is taxing on your body. It's stressful for your system. So the more you're doing that, the more your sleep quota is going to increase. Okay, so the better you can just generally become less stressed throughout the day, less anxious, the less sleep that you're going to need. Okay, the better you're going to be able to fall asleep. So first is consistency. Then we're going to talk about ways that you can reduce your stress, reduce your anxiety. Okay, so that you're not taxing your system so much throughout the day, so that your sleep quota goes down, so you don't actually need as much sleep. Okay, so we want to improve the quality of your sleep, and then we want to reduce the need for as much sleep on things that are not useful. Okay, so the second thing is practicing some form of meditation. Now, I don't want to say meditation because a lot of people have hang-ups and previous experiences with meditation, and it means a certain thing to you. So let's not use meditation. We'll use all we're doing is we're trying to not let thoughts that aren't useful take up any airtime in our head. Does that make sense? Yeah, so even if you think the thoughts are true, keep asking yourself, are these thoughts useful? Are they useful? You constantly ask yourself throughout the day. Okay, constantly ask yourself throughout the day, are these thoughts useful? And it's a good idea to set some time aside. Okay, you can set aside 10-15 minutes. Initially, it can be useful in the same way initially tracking all your food can be useful. And then once you kind of like know roughly where the nutrients are and where the fats are and where all that sort of stuff and the protein and the carbs, and you know what vegetables are higher in carbs, then after you've done that for a while, then you don't have to track anymore. In the same way, it's a good idea to set aside some time each day, 10-15 minutes, to sit and observe your thoughts and ask yourself, I didn't even notice these ones were just compulsively coming up and they're draining my energy and they're absolutely useless. So set some time aside each day, whatever time is going to be doable for you, whatever you're actually going to do. Okay, if you want to do 30 minutes, do 30 minutes. You want to do an hour, do an hour. You want to do 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. Whatever you're going to actually do. Okay, and then sit, observe thoughts that are arising and ask yourself if they're useful. Because there's probably loads of conditioning, useless thoughts that keep taking your attention and draining your energy throughout the day that you're not even aware of. Okay, and practicing sitting with those thoughts and allowing them to subside and not allowing them to gather momentum can be extremely useful. Okay, so that's the second thing. Practice observing your thoughts. Practice asking yourself, are the thoughts that I'm thinking useful? And if not, letting go of them. And the practice of doing that, the more consistently you do that throughout the day, eventually when you are struggling, you're laying back to go to sleep and thoughts are arising, you can just keep doing the same thing. Are these useful? And it's a skill. Yeah, you're going to develop it over time. The thoughts will arise and you'll allow them to subside without them gathering momentum, which will then help you to be able to fall asleep better. Does that make sense? Okay, so hopefully that helps. Third thing, the third thing kind of ties into the second thing as well, which is beliefs. Okay, so beliefs are just thoughts, right? Thoughts that you think over and over again, we call them beliefs, yeah? Now, what are your beliefs around sleep, and what would be useful thoughts around sleep, beliefs around sleep? What would be useful? So every time you go to bed, just keep noticing the thoughts that are arising in your mind and ask yourself, are these thoughts useful? Okay, so thinking about, I need to check the time, I need to do it. So if you set an alarm to wake up, you don't need to check the time, do you? Yeah, so keep noticing the thoughts that are arising. Ask yourself, are they useful? And then you can choose whether that thought makes you act, or you can choose to just sit and observe the thought and not take action based on the thought that is useless. Does that make sense? So your beliefs. So one is notice the beliefs that aren't useful, and two, now we can try to integrate and implement and condition ourselves with thoughts or beliefs that are useful. Okay, so one of the most useful thoughts to have around sleep, and I said useful, not necessarily true, is when you lay in bed and you plan to go to bed, you set your alarm, you give yourself an hour to just chill before going to bed, and you know the other stuff, no screen time and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to assume that you know that stuff. Just no light. Okay, no light. Is a minimal amount of light. You want to emulate the natural surroundings as much as possible. So as soon as the sun starts going down, minimize artificial light. So when your alarm goes off to go to bed and you find yourself laying in bed with your eyes closed, a useful belief to take with you as you go into bed is that you do not need to sleep. Okay, you don't need sleep. All you need is to have your eyes closed. You need to be in a completely dark room with your eyes closed, and you just breathe nice and slow and just allow your body to relax. And that is enough to allow your body to replenish and rejuvenate. Okay, that is a useful thought to have, a useful belief, not necessarily absolutely true. And here's why. The reason why it's useful is because it's going to actually allow you to relieve the anxiety around sleeping, you know, the necessity to sleep harder, and you start getting frustrated with yourself because you can't sleep, which then paradoxically causes you not to be able to sleep. Okay, so as you're laying in bed, breathe and just focus on your body and just allow you to keep telling yourself, I don't need to sleep, it's okay. All I need to do is be in a dark room with my eyes closed and allow my body to rest. If I can't sleep, it's okay, as long as my body can sleep, as long as my body can rest. And I just relieve the tension in my body. And you just scan over your body and just relieve the tension in your body, and just keep telling yourself that over and over again. Okay? And this is something that may take a few times, a few tries, a few weeks even, to click into place. It's not something that necessarily is going to happen straight away. It's like if you had a child that had a sporadic bedtime and didn't consistently go to bed at the same time, and then you tried to implement a bedtime. Initially, there might be a bit of resistance. It's the same with your mind. Initially, there might be a bit of resistance, but if you're consistent and you don't give in to it and you don't get tangled up in the dialogue around the situation and just stay stern with what you want to do, then what will happen is sooner or later, it will likely click into place. So I hope this video has helped you. Apply the stuff in the video. Let me know how you get on with it. Relieving your anxiety around the whole situation, not building it up to a massive thing in your mind and getting frustrated at yourself is kind of like the key take home, right? Okay, just keep it simple, keep it dead simple, and just ask yourself, are the thoughts that I'm having useful? Are they useful? And then stay consistent with your bedtime as best as you can, and then integrate and implement and keep telling yourself the thoughts, beliefs that are useful, that are going to be of benefit to you, that are going to get the result that you want them to get, regardless of it, even if they're true or not, as long as they're useful. When you're trying to feed a little baby with a spoon and they won't eat it, and you're pretending it to be an aeroplane, you're going like that, they don't believe it's an actual it doesn't matter if it's an actual aeroplane, does it? Okay, you're just using your imagination because it's useful. Yeah, there's loads of times and loads of different ways that we do that. Okay, we have that faculty of imagination. Utilize it. Okay, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.